Hello everyone. I thought it would be interesting to do a live video to end the year with you all and to look forward to the next year. And while doing that, I brought myself into an uncomfortable position to show you this wonderful quilt I'm working on. And I mean uncomfortable position, I'm holding my leg somewhere because this is the way I could make the camera work nicely and still look into the camera so I can see comments and questions that might pop up. And yeah, that's also one of the things I really want to work on in the coming years. It's better camera equipment. And I mean with to make the studio setup I have portable or at home more intuitive, so I can go live more often and just show you a little bit of my work, because I think as a sustainable quilter I work intuitively and with skills everybody can adopt at home. So I thought it's probably valuable if I show you more of those skills in action, like with fixing this quilt I talked about yesterday. It has a scalloped border. This is quilt I got into the upcycle center at Almere. It was thrown away, together with some quilted bedding and embroidered bedding. I think probably from somebody who died. It happens quite often that people die and then all their belongings are thrown or given to charity. And I was very lucky to find this one. And I'm going to save it because I think it's one of the first quilts somebody made. You can see it with the stitch length and stuff like that. See, the stitches are very big, which means that it's probably not made by somebody who was very learned, but still somebody put a lot of effort into this quilt. And the feeling I get from this quilt is that it is very much loved and it would love to go for another round, but it's also very broken. This is like a small broken piece. It's very broken. So the first thing I'm going to do is to fix the edges with some scraps I got from friends. Some friends from the sea, that's why the lighthouse, but also some scrap and fabric samplers. I'm going to use them to fix the border in my own cheerful way, because although the quilt has a lot of positive energy in it, I think the design, maybe also because of the colorations, is a little bit bland, because the colors blend together a lot, and I want to give it a new fresh look by adding scrap fabrics in bold colors. I'm doing first the borders with the scallops, because that will strengthen the integrity of the quilt, which makes it not fall apart again while I work on the middle. Also, it's a good place to start because, yeah, it's nice to do. I fold it over. It's a technique I use based on Kawandi, but you cannot. It's not Kawandi anymore, but I use a similar technique where you basically fold fabric over each other and then you can quilt. See, at the back you can see it's folded over. And instead of folding over all your edges, you fold some edges while you place them on top of it. So the edges of this blue one is secured under the red one. And you can also keep adding stuff. I probably won't do the whole quilt, but you can keep adding stuff to make it stronger. Example of that is, I will get some fabrics to show you. For example, you have this flower fabric. I will fold it over and also in the corner. You place it like this. You use some pins. This is an example. I'm probably going to change it a little bit. And then you fold it over again. Wow! Oh. Like this. This is how I'm fixing this quilt. And then you sew over the line and you sew here. And in this way, by keep folding over fabric over raw edges, you finish the whole quilt. And that part is inspired by Kawandi, which is basically a folding quilting technique I will probably delve more into in the next year. So this quilt. It's my holiday project, one of them. I'm also making a paper piece stand for a friend of mine, which I don't have here, so I won't show you. I will show you in a photo later. I post updates in my stories anyway, and you can always ask me questions. This is one of my holiday projects because I went on holiday for 2 weeks with to give my mind time to adjust to the changes I've gone through. And usually I like doing hand sewing projects on holiday because it calms down, and usually I don't find the time to work on them when I'm busy. So holiday is a good time. This is one of them. I don't know if I will finish it, but it doesn't matter. And yeah, it's good. And while being in this resting stage, I'm also using the end of the year to reflect on everything that happened, and also to set some goals for the new year. Because first I will quickly talk everybody up to speed. This year started with I was participating in a challenge for social entrepreneurs, which means that you are a business who wants to do good. More about that, there was a post somewhere about social businesses and doing good and why you choose one or the other. I am a social entrepreneur because I believe in doing good in the world sustainably, and profit can be part of sustainability if it's like done in an ethical way, because profit in a way ensures that you can keep doing the things you do, and that you can keep existing as a business dependably. And my business is oriented towards making quilting part of a sustainable world and creating a sustainable world where everybody is a part of. And that basically means that I use trash, like scraps and old quilts, to turn them into value. I teach people how they can do it themselves, so they can feel like valuable. And that's basically what I do. I participated in a challenge for impact people, which I won beginning of the year, which was very amazing. And I also spent a year making classes, building my artistry as a sustainable quilter. And also, end of November, I won another pitch competition, which gave me the workplace in Almere I've been talking about. I'm settled now in Almere. I've met most of the people and stuff like that. And after that, I went on a break because even when good things happen, they still take energy. So I really felt like I needed some time to reflect, which is good because it gave me lots of new ideas of why I do what I do and how I want to continue doing what I do. Sometimes I use pins to secure the fabric a bit better. Sorry for the light, by the way. It keeps going off because it's almost empty. And the conclusion is that I want to delve deeper into the idea of retribution for Mother Earth and the planet by turning trash and dumped textiles into value. And to make it so that the quilts and the quilted objects you buy from Kick Ass Quilts are part of your life. It's not just an item you buy, but it's part of your journey as a human being. For example, when a baby gets born, you give him a baby blanket or a mobile. And when you start a partnership with somebody, you can get a joint quilt. Quilts will be to symbolize anchors in your life of meaning, made, in my case, from trash to treasure, as a way to say sorry to Mother Earth for producing so much trash, and also as a way to create meaning out of that trash, and to give to honor the resources and the effort gone into producing the textiles, because a lot goes into it. So and I'm going to evolve that storytelling part as well, so it will be clear to people how many years and how many cuddles you should give to something to get the value put into it out of it. That's the philosophy I've been talking about. And the good thing with my boyfriend while on holiday. The good thing about holidays is that I usually relax and ground down on the ideas that are really important to me. So in the coming years you'll see more of me, like the things I make myself from trash, but I will also show you the process of doing it, like I'm doing now. And maybe offer tutorials for certain projects. So you can always tell me what you find interesting, so I can take that into account. Also, usually I work with goals, and there are 3 goals, personal and professional, for me this year. One is to take Kick Ass Quilts to the next level and to make it a sustainable business. Because now I'm not making much money yet, and I will need to start doing that for me to keep doing this, and also for the mission to have value. Not only money, I believe in the people, planet, profit, but I am better at the planet and people part, so that's more underway. People to me means finding ways and having business in such a way that everybody can be involved. And everybody can be involved starts with involving the people who are not already. So I'll be working on workshops and options to bring quilting both in the form of workshops and in the form of the object to people who need them the most, who feel like they're trash and don't belong to society. Planet is an easy one, that's the sustainable working, turning trash into treasure, and in that way hopefully preventing people to buy new stuff and new stuff to be produced, because there is already enough. We just need skillful, practical ways to turn it into value. Like I'm using scraps to fix this quilt. And profit is the hardest for me, because it's difficult for me to ask for anything in return. But I feel like it's time to not suffer myself and to be able to live off the mission I make. So that can be in the form of selling my product, but it can also be in the form of content creation, of partnerships and workshops, and online and offline, and maybe people who sponsor my work and thinking and the content I create. So everybody who wants to can contribute in a big or a small way. I want quilting to be accessible, so I don't want to only produce expensive stuff, because that's what you see happening in spirituality or creativity sometimes. And I think that's a shame, because sometimes people with the power to make change don't necessarily have the means, and I want them to be able to participate too. So keep an eye on my profile for updates on that. And let me know what you would be interested in, so I can take that into account. The second goal I have, so the first one is sustainability in my business, with a focus on being able to live off it. The second goal is spirituality. I want to find my own spiritual habits and practices, because to me quilting and life is linked with spirituality, and it gives me a lot of peace of mind to work with it. I'm already working with it, and I think for me the next step in healing and in life is finding my own practices, because this year was one of a lot of healing, and the biggest lesson I learned is that there's value in being myself. That's also the lesson I try to teach other people. So I think the next year I'm going to take all the teachings and the teaching I'm still going to get and apply them to myself, because spirituality is both communal and personal. So I'm still working with teachers, but I'm also going to allow myself to ground on my own practices, which are probably surrounded around quilting, and there are not many spiritual quilting teachers yet. So I'm going to find my own way. And of course keep you up to date, because to me storytelling with social media is one part of healing and spirituality actually, because I can show you what I do and hopefully give people ideas. Which brings me to the third goal, self-love. I've learned, like I said before, that there's value in being myself, like there's value for everybody in being themselves. So I'm ground more on habits of self-love. Like, self-love is also giving myself time to quilt by hand. Because sometimes I don't, because I feel like I have to be productive and important all the time. And I also struggle with making new connections, because I feel like I have to be somebody I'm not. But I've been learning the last few months that people don't mind who I am, and there's value in being yourself. That gives freedom and peace of mind. So self-love to me is about allowing myself to rest, allowing myself to be myself, allowing to make the art and the quilts I want to make and think are important, to take my spot in the world. And also resting, and try to embrace experiences in my life, even though it scares me and I don't know how. Self-love to me is also about like being open to new experiences, in the understanding that I can take it and I deserve it. And I don't have to know everything and control everything and know how to act all the time. So there are like quite a lot of healing personal insight goals, but that is because my fear of being myself and my fear of being different or not knowing things is what's keeping me back the most. So working on those things will give me the most benefit also in business. And I've learned what's good for me, what's truly good for me, is also truly good for the collective. And healed people are loving people, and the more healed and the more you are truly yourself, the more things you will do that benefit the collective, because we're not made to be alone. And I think with that I will end this live video. The 3 intentions for the next year are sustainable growth for Kick Ass Quilts, with focus on being able to live off it, spiritual practices in my own way, and self-love. Because if you cannot care for yourself, what's life worth anyhow? And it also makes it easy for you to connect with people. So, what are your goals? I'm very curious to hear, and I wish you all a happy ending of the year. Take some time to reflect, and we'll stay in touch. Thanks for following me. We'll stay going on this journey together.